This session is all about enhancing one's personality. First and foremost, it's when we take the journey of a life, what we are is what we believe in. What believe in is what we are, and what we believe, if we believe, and if we have conviction in ourselves, then only we will be able to convince anybody else. So that persona, that conviction that we have. So what all things constitute a personality? What does it really mean? How does it take shape? Yeah, when we look at it, the personality, or whoever we are today, it is of inherent nature. Each individual is very interesting if we actually think through. We are unique. Each one of us is unique. There is no other persona in this world who is anywhere closer to you. So this persona of ours has consciously or subconsciously has been shaped through our experiences since childhood. उन गलियारों में हम जिन गलियारों में से गुजरे हैं, हर गलियारों से कुछ ना कुछ लेके हम चल पड़े हैं. Every gully that we have been through, we have carried something that has influenced us. So it has not happened overnight. And there are people out there who have helped us in giving shape to our persona. So the nurturing that has happened, the value system that has formed since our childhood, and the guidance that has happened at home, elders, everybody, and of course the schools and institutions that have shaped us who we are. Yeah. And this journey, today's session, is one way of adding to the transformation of personalities. And I've been interviewing people, over 100 people I've interviewed in the last month and a half. So I could peep into many. And I could also see many challenges. Many challenges in each, not one or two. So I shall try to touch upon today few of the elements in today's session, and the second session that is scheduled for day after tomorrow. Yeah, we will try and collapse as much as we can so that in the little time that we have, you are able to work on your personality. Though it's short time, but you can undo quite a few things. Yeah, it's like switching the switch of a light bulb. If we wish to switch it, I think we can start transforming ourselves. So our personality, we all have reached a particular stage. We have gained a lot of things. How do we shape our personality? One of the simple things that we need to work upon, but it is very difficult for many, because there has to be a desire. So it is our responsibility to start thinking about what is my purpose of life, what is my vision for myself. The vision could be 2030, 2025, whatever, but that vision will emerge from the larger purpose we tell ourselves. Okay. If you've seen yesterday's cricket match, it was an amazing match. I saw two youngsters in their early 20s. The whole team around them collapsed in both teams. Yeah, if you look at it, I think one scored a double century, rest of them are in low double digits. 20 or 30 must be 36 or so is highest, I think. Yeah, similarly on the other side, one believed that he can take the match all the way to India, and he was almost there. Where's 144 for 6 or so, and he took it all the way to 238. Yeah, with 338, with 350 to win. So that's the vision somebody has, and the purposefulness somebody has. Then when you work, because you work with passion, you work with purpose, and you will fight it out till the end. So this physiological, physical, and psychological growth or outlook all comes from the purpose, and it keeps pumping positivity, it keeps pumping energies. The attitude you bring in to any space would be transformational, not for yourself, and your work will influence the way you do it, will influence many, many, many more around you. And that builds the relationships with fellow human beings, that builds the brand called you. And this is a cycle. It reinforces your purpose, it reinforces your vision, so that you are on the right path. So the first and foremost is very important for you to understand. Ask yourself, what is my purpose? So next session, next week, on day after tomorrow, we'll focus on the purpose. But let us look at certain building blocks of this persona called personality. There are multiple spaces. There are 7 spaces. Each space is integral to your existence. Is your influence on these 7 spaces can make a huge impact to your persona, what others perceive you as. One, and first and foremost, mind space. Yeah, you most of you have got calls. What is that you think? How do you visualize yourself? How do you visualize your past, your present, and your future in terms of mind? What is the mindset you carry? Yeah, that's where the purpose, the vision comes. Yeah, so you've got to be not only enhance your knowledge, capabilities, work on those, but in the process, you capture the mind space of people whom are addressing, whether it's a panelist, whether in the group discussion you go, how with your capabilities you occupy their mind space. And there could be n number of things that can facilitate you to occupy somebody else's mind space. Then there is the energy space. Yeah, I'm sure you can feel the energy I am passing to you across the net, across every. So energy is amazing space. What kind of energy do you bring in wherever you are, in whichever space you are? Physical space is the space if you're sitting in front of the panel or sitting in the group. Yeah, how do you own the space? If you're addressing people, there are multiple ways of doing, standing at the lectern or standing at the board, or somebody is more confident, will venture into the people's space too. So how do you capture the physical space of people? And the visual space is what all things you do, the theatrics you do, if it's a presentation, what kind of presentation you do, even in the presentations, how do you go about? So that's the visual elements that you add in order to make your presence felt. And of course, voice, the way you speak, the way you emphasize, the way you pause, all of this have an impact. How you mold your personality or your each one of these elements. The personalized space. How do each individual that you're addressing, how much do they feel he or she? How much am I able to connect? And how much do you feel that I'm addressing you? That is the personalized space. Yeah. And you would see the the best of the orators, best of the speakers, best of the leaders finally actually occupy the emotional space. They make everybody feel that he's mine. Yeah. So the persona that you shape, you need to work on each of these spaces. Hope you are taking a screenshot and keeping it. So kindly think through on each of these elements where you are and what is it that you need to work upon. Yeah. So you need to identify, you need to assess your own skills, you need to assess your strengths, you need to assess, identify your weaknesses. So the personality development program we are doing, it pinpoints a lot of things. When I interview people, at the end of it, I give feedback, I dive deeper, because I get to see a lot of things you yourself don't get to see. And many a times, most of the times, for most of the people, when I say, they accept, oh, I do understand, there's a problem with me. Okay. So in terms of your mentors, people who are your supervisors, whoever you are, so the whole plan, once you go through, identify it, then you need to plan. How do you work? What are the challenges? Knowledge could be a gap in terms of the subjects, in terms of things you have studied. There could be a gap in your understanding of context. There may be a gap between what all things you have done, where all you have traveled. And for example, I was interviewing somebody who is from near Barmer, Jaisalmer. So I asked quite a few questions. Yeah, many times you're in a city, in town, you're not aware of a lot of things about your town itself, your state. So the context, then you're part of Indian economy, you're part of the developments that are happening around. So your subjects, where you come from, the contextual existence, you need to understand. Then only when when you understand your purpose, you will be able to plan. You will be able to even answer a simple question: why MBA? 95-98% of people who are there, who got interview calls, they just don't know. They just want to move away from what they're doing, and they know that MBA is better. They got to know, अच्छा MBA कर लो, मैं बात MBA कर लिया है, वो बहुत बढ़िया है, so MBA करो. Okay. But will you be, understand, when you are sitting in front of a panel, and that panel is going to come across 30-40 people in a day, and most of these institutions, the ratio is 1:5, 1:6 minimum. Many of them 1:8, 1:10. So you got to one among, for every 6, 7, 8 candidates that come in front of the panelists, they're going to select only one, and you got to be that one. So you've got to be very different. You've got to stand out. You cannot be rattling the same thing like, I have technical skills and now I'm looking for managerial skills. That doesn't make any sense. It simply tells me that you're not given a serious thought. You're not reflected. Yeah, you're not evaluated. Okay. So this is a cycle. This is a process. You need to be at it all the time. So the whole process of personality development talks about, first, it talks about who you are, what is it that you need to do, what is it that will help you to boost your confidence. Then that will enable you to build your relationships. I will share by towards the end of it how, because we don't exist in isolation. We need to understand, since we don't exist in isolation, when you are in the context of people, can I make use of people around me? Can I build relationships around me? That will in turn helps me to become a better person, can help me grow as a better human being. my personality can be built. Okay. And this would help you in boosting your own morale, and it will help you to improve the focus. Okay. It improves because the more you gain the confidence, the more will be your communication skills. You'll be able to articulate, verbal or non-verbal. Okay. And the whole process of your knowledge plus your communication, these are two main factors: knowledge and ability to communicate what you want to communicate. If these two things you are able to enhance, and you can do in short period of time, whatever time you have, then the credibility you will increase, the acceptance you will increase, the recognition you will increase. Okay. The more and more you get into that cycle, it develops in yourself, in inner confidence that would showcase in the external confidence to the outside world. And if you've been doing this in your, I'm sure a lot of people have been doing a lot of stuff in the university, in colleges, etc. Unfortunately, many said that I focused on extracurricular, but the core, understand, when you are getting into a business school, you are getting into an educational institution, you are getting it there for education. Of course, your personality growth also is very important, but they're certainly looking at, भाई यहाँ पढ़ने आ रहे हो तो तुम अपना झलक जो पढ़ाई किया है, whatever you studied, at least showcase, at least make us understand what you studied. Okay. But that is one of the problems for many, because we are focused only on marks, only on examinations, never focused on learning. When you do not focus on learning, the integration of knowledge will not happen. Okay. So it's a must. You need to pick up at least basic subjects of your whatever graduation or post graduation you've done, and at least couple of subjects you've got to go deep, so that you will be able to engage the panel in one of those 2-3 subjects. Okay. So this process, whatever we are doing today, it is to help you understand, to make you informed, so that you start reforming and you start performing, and the transformation will be visible for people. So when you talk about personality development, growth in your personality, enhance your personality, yeah, it is all about when you are projecting it, it's a projection. Okay. So you have got a great clarity. You need to have great clarity of past, your present. You need to have good clarity of your future. That's where the PDP program that we are doing is of great value. Okay. It makes you understand your strength. It makes you think through what you wish to do tomorrow and what all things you need to do today to achieve it. How will you project in the business school interviews? It is not about projection, not for the interviews, but first and foremost for myself, so that I'll be able to project. Okay. And if you have a long-term vision, you also need to think about plan A, plan B, plan C, because for any destination there can be multiple paths. It is not only one single path. Okay. So, and in interviews, they are definitely, and in some institutions, some interview panels will definitely ask you, if you don't get into MBA, if we will not give you admission. So if your purpose is clear, there will be n number of paths, and you can take any path, and you know from A to B, if you have to go, there can be n number of paths. But the clarity has to be, I need to know the destination, or at least I know the purpose. I need to have a vision that will help me to answer these questions. Okay. So anything you've done so far in your life, work on it, make it your strength, because that's what they're going to see. Whatever you have done, how good are you? Okay. So you've got to be self-aware. Yeah. Work with your mentors, do interactions, do your mock PIs, do your GD, do your VAT. So kindly work as much as you can, so that you strengthen yourself for the processes, apart from strengthening from your past. Okay. So in the PDP program, if you're going to quickly say, there are psychometric tests, the personality tools you have, personality activities there are. So when you take the test and your mentor um, sits with you, analyzes you, you get to know a lot, and you yourself get to know a lot. P scale, loco, 5 scale personality tests, all those things you go through there. Okay. And when the feedback comes, kindly work on your daily goals. And there will be for group tasks, there will be group activities, there will be boot camps. And I am almost, because I mentor many, so I am almost always there for people, mentoring all the time. And in the process, there are students out there in the PDP personalized who every evening they're doing discussions on various issues and topics. Okay. And they blog. So during this, they get to understand people, they get to understand the content, the context, and gain knowledge, and they blog. Okay. So it is all about all of these: self-awareness, building on your strengths of the past, and looking at the process of the institutions, and working, practicing repeatedly to make it happen. And in the whole process, the mentoring, the feedback that you get, and the facilitation you get, make use of it to impact. Okay. So feedback reports you get, feedback suggestions you get from mentors, take actions regularly, improve on yourself daily. Some of you have not attended these sessions, so we are going through, and there are many, many more who have just joined because calls are coming. So we thought that we will do this session. So in the aspiration portal, you have PDP zone. You will click on the PDP zone, and you will see your profile. You edit your profile. You will get to know mentors. You can book your PIs there. Okay. And there are various tools. Who am I? Power PDP. Then you have ebooks, B school form. You fill it. Your mentor will go through and give feedback. Yeah. Then PDP, the whole process feedback. So a lot of stuff are there in your PDP zone. Kindly invest time and go through them and use them. Okay. So who am I? Who am I is a 10. It's a entire thing is who am I, and there is also a 10-question questionnaire for you to respond. And for when you take the loco test, PE test, big 5 personality test, your mentor, for example, whenever I look at individuals, their aspiration account, I get to see all of these. It helps me, it gives me great insights that I use at the end of the PI1 to help them understand where they need to work and how they can go about. And this autobiography is an amazing tool where you're asked to write 2,500 words, your whole journey. Many a times, many of those things we forget in our life. When you sit back and write it relaxedly, you realize there are small things, incidents, small incidents, small outcomes, small experiences. When you recall them, you realize all these small little experiences have shaped you. And many times you realize how you had that confidence on that day to do that thing. And you reflect and say, why don't I have that confidence? I want to make it happen. Okay. So a lot of tools. Who are my profiler? Then for XLRI, many times they ask you to record a video and they analyze the video. So all of those stuff exists in your aspiration. The psychometric test, a lot of things you share with your mentor, and these 10 questions, you're recording demo videos, all of this, your mentor looks at it and gives feedback. Okay. So let me now go to the next um, phase of. So what I've shared right now is the PDP program. What is personality? The PDP program, the way it is structured, the way you will work to make it happen. Okay, make it happen to yourselves. Okay, so I'm just going back. I'm just thinking, are there any questions there which I can respond to, because I'm not able to see the. So let me. Yeah, any questions you have, quickly you can type in the chat box, and if you have any questions so far I can address, then I will get back to the PPT. Okay. Okay, let me get back to the PPT. Hope it is visible. How do I? Quickly type in the chat box whether this is visible. I'll come out and see and come back. Was the PPT visible? Okay. So leaders first focus on personal victory. Okay. What is personal victory? Having a personal goal clarity. As I said, we will look at it in the next session. We are going to invest on this dimension. Okay. Your purpose and vision. We will certainly look at in the next session in greater detail. So it all starts with awareness of self. Awareness of self, from it has got multiple dimensions. Of course, the knowledge that you have from your subjects, knowledge that you carry from the environment, the general awareness, etc. But apart from that, your internal capabilities, internal strengths. Okay. So acknowledge your strengths and make use of those strengths, leverage your strengths. And you need to know, of course, you leverage your strengths, but you certainly need to know your weaknesses. And you need to work on your weaknesses. Okay. Because things like time management skills, things like ability to speak, ability to participate in a group. Yeah. When I'm in larger group, how do I respond? Yeah. Am I outgoing? Am I an introvert? Because as a leader, you've got to work with very different types of characters, very different types of individuals, and you need to take everybody along. So you need to be aware of your strengths. You need to be aware of your weaknesses. Yeah. Yesterday I was interviewing one individual, and is a brilliant youngster who has got calls from few business schools. But I told him that you're a bull in China's shop. Yeah. If you're brilliant and you cannot take people along, because this world is not about individualism. Yeah. You need to take people along, and they will help you realize your dreams. All of you together, you will have a team that can make it happen. If you're not able to be a team member, then you will certainly will not be able to lead a team. That's very important. So how do you work on these factors is very, very, very important. So you've got to be very scathing on your own self. Yeah. Ask yourself, what are the people? There are people who cannot say no. Because they cannot say no, they keep accepting what others keep throwing at them, and the time is always limited. So it is a big struggle. So there can be n number of weaknesses that each individual will have, but it is very important for all of us to look at each one of these, evaluate, dive deep, and take corrective measures. So take responsibility of all outcomes. Until you see, very simple. Why will anyone else be interested in you if you are not interested in your own betterment? So work towards your own betterment. Unless you work towards your own betterment, it's interesting is if you're working towards your own betterment, there may be many others around you who will help you lend you a helping hand. Okay. So there is something called locus of control. What is locus of control? Yeah. The locus of control is what you believe in yourself. What do you believe you control? How much do you believe that you control the outcomes or things that impact you? How much you believe that you can impact the context, the environment? Okay. So where is the locus? Is this internal locus of control, or the locus of control is external? Is it with somebody else? Is it with people around you? Or is it with some chance or some luck? So how much do you believe? Because everything is an outcome of that belief. Only when you believe you can, you will put the effort. Whenever you believe that somebody else is the reason for what happens to you, then there is a challenge. Okay. And similarly, luck. So I do see when people take this tool, okay, loco inventory. So loco inventory is nothing but taking stock, inventory, taking stock of your inventory. Who are you? Yeah. So the loco inventory, I hope all of you have taken, you've been asked to take the loco inventory before you come to the session, loco inventory, as well as the PE scale. I hope you all have taken it before you come here. Okay. So kindly take, if you've taken, very good. Usually when I do the sessions in the class, they do take this, and they also take, most of you would have taken in the PDP zone, in the who am I section. And when your mentor sits with you, then he'll be looking at your scores, and you will make notes out of the scores that you got, and in the interview interaction he will help you. So you could take the loco test. If you've not taken the loco test, kindly take the loco test. It will take about 15 minutes for you to take the test. The test, you don't have to think. Whatever comes naturally, your answer to any of these questions, any of those statements, kindly mark. You have to mark 0 to 4, 1 to 4 there. Okay. You just mark what is the most suited for each of the statement, what you feel. You don't have to deliberate. Be natural. So once you get the loco inventory, yeah, um, once you get the scores, when you reflect on the scores, you will get deep insights. Okay. So it need not be English speaking, but in terms of your ability to understand, ability to communicate, all those things would impact your loco inventory. If your ability to understand, being a good listener, being a good analyzer, introspector, and communicator, if you're not that good, your loco inventory also, because you will not believe in yourself. So the more the belief you have in terms of your ability to communicate, the greater belief you will have in impacting the outcome. So loco inventory will help, or also loco inventory gets reflected by your these capability of being patient and working, capability of um, enhancing. If I got to share here itself, there are two things. Okay, one is circle of concern, another is circle of influence. Okay, so the circle of concern, if you got to enhance your circle of concern, you need to really work patiently, purposefully. Okay, the greater is the goal orientedness, the greater, I'll talk about each of these, circle of concern and circle of influence. The greater is your goal orientedness, the greater will be purposefulness, and the greater will be your circle of concern also will grow. You will work making the circle of concern grow, and also you make the circle of influence grow. Either ways, your goal orientation is going to be of great value. All of these would help you to gain confidence. And the confidence will be of a different magnitude. Okay. So that will help you to plan your future better. And because you have a purpose, you're goal oriented, and you have the purpose of doing all the things present, past, and the future that you need to work upon, all of these you need to have immense patience to go about. So in the loco inventory, you would have seen three labels: EO, it is external others; EC, it is external chance; and EO plus EC is the composite of E. E is external. Okay. So in order to figure out, so you have a score for I. I is internal, and E is external others and external chance. Okay. So when I say internal locus of control, it means how much do I believe that things that happen to me is because of me and me alone. Yes, of course, there will be certain roles certain important people in your life play, especially your family, and maybe one or two other people in your life who have contributed, who have impacted. So EO will not be zero, but EO will not be too big too. I will be reasonably big, and EO, external chance, external chance is going to be not that too high. Yes, external chance to only to extent perhaps you are at the right place at the right time. But people who are purposeful usually find themselves in the right place, right time, because it also does not happen accidentally. It is also an individual's effort to be there at the right place and right time. So when you have these scores, EO, EC, and I, for a person who has the loco inventory or the locus of control, internal locus of control, ideally a person who has got the ratio of I by E between 1 and 2. Okay, so I is not double or more than double than E, and I has to be greater than E. Okay, so I by E is somewhere between 1 and 2. It means you have good internal locus of control. Okay, so if you have taken the tests, you can look at your own scores and ask yourself, where am I? How can I improve? First and foremost, starts with acknowledging that there are areas that I need to work. Okay, and being aware of all your shortcomings. That is the first. Usually, the ego is one which would come and prevent us from acknowledging. The other factor could be laziness. We acknowledge, but may not work. Okay, so unless you take the responsibility, yeah, to improve your own knowledge in all sense, your subject, your contextual, the contextual in terms of the world affairs, Indian affairs, etc., then your understanding of self and ability to introspect and reflect and asking yourself, where am I heading? What is my purpose? What is it that I will leave an impact? Okay, so these thought processes, you need to take responsibility. So if I got to tell you, circle of concern, suppose I ask you, which is, there could be a number of questions. Okay, any question that you ask that is beyond your ken or your knowledge today means it is somewhere in the universe, but it is not in the circle of concern, right? So the greater you read, the greater you endeavor to understand the world around you, immediately around you, and what is happening in the world. Almost 90% of people who have got calls hardly read newspaper. You ask very simple things, they do not know. A lot of questions get asked from the last 3, 4, 5, 6 months. There may be some questions may come from little earlier too. Some remarkable stuff like demonetization and its impact, because still we are seeing great impact. The small and medium enterprises have not really shaken from there and moved up. And similarly, the GST, all of these are 6 year, almost 6 years, 5.5 years old. So, and in our economy, almost 85% of our economy is unorganized sectors, small enterprises, medium enterprises, yeah, and roadside katelas, etc. So 85% of GDP is that. And demonetization and GST have impacted many of these enterprises, the small, medium enterprises. Similar demonetization is, yeah. So if we already see, if you're seeing every day, large companies um, are giving pink slips. Yeah, many companies, because the way things are progressing, Russia, Ukraine, that conflict also added to the impact of COVID, and the world is going into recession. So there are a lot of things. So when there is no market, when there are not people buying, okay, and the money supply for the small medium enterprises, because most of the times the small medium enterprises run on cash, so demonetization also impacted them. So quite a few things. So we need to be aware. And for example, we spoke about Russia Ukraine conflict. How is it impacting the world? Yeah. How is it impacting Europe? How is it impacting India? So there could be n number. The COP27 summit and COP28 that is about to happen. So you need to ask how this environment, how this world economy, how geopolitical stances, okay, are going to impact how every day the metals, minerals, commodities prices change. So we need to be aware of lots of stuff around us that is happening, because as a manager, you are not in isolation. You need to understand the developments that is happening in the world. How is it going to impact my company? How is it going to impact my markets? Okay. So wake up, start reading, keep increasing your circle of concern. The more and more you read, the larger will be your circle of concern, because you get to know a lot of things which were never there in your area of concern. Interesting. The more and more you increase your circle of concern by reading, and reading, what happens to circle of influence? Circle of influence obviously is smaller than circle of concern. Circle of influence is about how much you can impact. Okay. So, circle of influence, because of your awareness of your own knowledge and awareness of your own self, awareness of subject knowledge that you will work, whatever you have done so far, and greater awareness of worldly knowledge will help you gain confidence, will help you gain confidence in interacting and engaging. For example, if I have a clarity of my purpose, okay, there are many. I've seen quite a few. Somebody was done sociology masters, and I interviewed her. The natural path is usually civil services. But there is somewhere that I want to impact the society, but not civil services. So let me take CAT and go to MBA, and calls have come. Okay. Now, a person who is in sociology, who has studied sociology and has deep insights into society, in the contextual challenges, yeah, in the social environment. India is beset with challenges. Only when that person will start thinking deeper, the usual thought is, I will go for HR, I will go do something which is softer because I've been a sociology student. But if you really look at it, your insights into society is so deep. And on the other hand, if you look at it, you have something called CSR contribution the corporates have to make. Okay. 2% of their bottom line. And the 2% of the bottom line is not small. I was telling few people who are in that realm. So that if you take Tata's just declared, sorry, TCS, not Tata's, TCS just declared their revenues about 11,000 crores in the last quarter. So about 2,500 crores or so is the profits approximately. So of the 2,500 crores, they have to keep aside 2%. So in a year, if the revenues is reach 50,000 crores and the profit is 10,000 crores, the 2% is 200 crores. And they have to invest those 200 crores in in the projects of their corporate social responsibility. And if you put the GDP, the numbers, etc., the organizations, the numbers are mind-blowing. Maybe about 50,000-60,000 crores needs to be spent by private enterprises in their undertaking their corporate social responsibility. Okay. So imagine if you have a purpose, even impacting any segment of society, and you know how to go about, and if you have a clear way of executing, you can go and pitch the 60,000 crores. It's not a small money, friends. So even if somebody gives you 10 crores, 20 crores for a project, it's amazing. So it is for you to think through, ask yourself, okay? When you have clarity, the circle of influence goes much beyond. You will create a project, then you go and pitch to various corporates. You do a research, figuring out which corporate is interested in what kind of projects they wish to do, and go and pitch relevant corporates your project and tell them that I will take ownership, I'll take responsibility. And you'll realize that all these corporates are waiting for somebody who has that purposefulness and who takes ownership to deliver, and they will queue up to give you the money. So when I say you go circle of influence, the more you understand the world, the more deeper you dive, the more deeper you understand. So when the purpose of clarity is clear, for example, one of the other SOP I looked at. Okay, we will cover the SOP in detail later, but because circle of influence I'm talking about, yeah, amazing how this person's interest, maybe in the next session I will share, this person's interest in the energy sector made him work in the energy sector, and now is at the threshold of getting into business school, and he sees the electric vehicles, the solar, alternate source of energy as the area of his excellence, and he would like to create an impact there. So there is a purpose and deep vision. So when you have such a deep understanding, because all these things, because your desire, your purpose, you study and study. After all, if it comes to interview, I'm least interested in interview, but If it comes to interview, you're going to engage the panel for those 15 minutes, 20 minutes. That's it. Okay. So your belief that you can bring that panel into a circle of influence, that you can influence the panel with your purposefulness, with your hard work, with your perseverance, with your passion. So you can make a huge difference. So increase your circle of concern, read, dive deeper into some areas of your interest. After all, you're going to keep them busy for 15 minutes. If you enthrall them with your knowledge and purposefulness for 15 years, their decision will be such that you will be enthralled for next 50, 60 years. Okay. So that is the loco inventory. How much do you believe that you will make an impact by your own stint and dint of hard work? Okay. Now comes what is called the public victory. The more and more, you'll see, the more and more, it's very interesting. The more knowledge you have in any group task, in any group interview, in any group like GD, group exercise, you realize that if you have a great deal of knowledge about self in terms of how you behave, how you facilitate, and also great deal of knowledge in your past, present, and future, great deal of knowledge in subjects, you read vast amount of things, you will realize that whenever you speak, whenever you share, even without imposing yourself, the whole group will be looking up to you. You speak once and they understand the gravity of what you say, you will realize that they all will be eager that when are you going to open the next time your mouth. Okay. So public victory has a lot to do with private victory. Yes, there are certain dimensions to public victory that can help you excel, that can increase your arena of excellence. Okay. So you can see before Kapil Dev won the World Cup in 1983, India, there have been occasions where in 60 overs, I think India scored 100 runs or something. Okay. But that one belief, you must have watched that 83, I think, movie. Okay. How a 27-year-old youngster could infuse the belief and purposefulness, and you would have seen he front-ended many a times, scoring 176, I think, in that match. I think it was Zimbabwe, and he came to rescue, and people started believing. Okay, whether it's Gandhiji, whether Steve Jobs, or now um, uh, Bill Gates here, Steve Jobs, who is at Elon Musk. Okay, belief. So how do you believe in yourself, and how do you impact? And the public victory is very important. So in order to measure yourself, can I measure? Yes, you can measure your ability to impact in the public arena. You certainly can measure. Okay, that is called PE scale, personal effectiveness scale. Okay, so if you have taken the PE scale on your um, in your ASPE, good. If you've not, kindly take the PE scale, and um, it may take 15 minutes or so of yours. Okay, as I said, do not think too hard, just be flow with it. um, it is your who you are and what you are at that point of time. It is not what you want to be. So just be natural in responding to the questions. Okay. Of course, there's no right or wrong answer because all individual responses. From there will emerge understanding of who you are. Be honest. Okay. The purpose is in the whole process. At the end of the process, you need to get benefited. Most of the times, our behavior is to change the perception of others. हम पहनते हैं, जो कुछ भी करते हैं, actions and all, you want to show who you are, who they want to see. You want to, many times, most of us want to hide who we are, and you want to project what others want to see. That is not going to take you far. Be honest, brutally honest, and try to understand who you are and facilitate your mentors in understanding who you are so that they will be able to help you in becoming better to enhance your persona. Okay? So once you take the exercise, it may take 10-15 minutes, if not 5 minutes. Okay? So you will get scores on 3 dimensions. The first dimension is called SD, self-disclosure. Second dimension is called openness to feedback. Okay. The third dimension is the Z-axis that goes vertical to this plane. That is called perceptivity. Okay. Let me just look at this graph. Okay. If you look at it, it has got 2 variants on each of the axes. Known to others, unknown to others, known to self, unknown to self. So as a person, lot of things about me I know, and a lot of people around me who are regularly working with me do know. Yeah, that's clear, right? I know a lot of things about me, hell lot of about me, and a lot of things about me others know. They may not know everything, but hell lot of things about me they know. So that area is called arena, known to me, known to others. I'm sure you all agree. There are a lot of things known to me, but unknown to others. There are few unknown to others who are close to me also. Yeah, we guard our privacy to such an extent that people who are close to me also don't know quite a few things. Right? So known to me and unknown to others is that area is called secretive. I am secret about it. Okay. Then comes, if we go into the green arena, is it possible that there are few things that others know but you don't know? Okay. Certainly. If you ask your father, if you ask your mother, if you ask your siblings, if you ask your friends, they will reveal a lot of things that you never ever paid attention to, and they are observing who you are. Okay. So it is a blind spot. I am not able to see, but others are able to see. Okay. So known to others, unknown to me, unknown to self. Then the last dimension, great possibility, and there are many, many more possibilities, that there are things about me that I do not know and none else knows. right? I do not know, and no one else knows. Certainly. For example, if somebody, Chaiwala, becomes the prime minister from being a chief minister, a lot of things he got to know what he can do, and lot of things everybody else got to know what he can do. Okay, so unknown to me, unknown to others. So that's unknown or hidden. Okay, so if you look at this as four quadrants: self disclosure and openness to feedback, many times when I look at the scores, etc., the scores are 7, 8 in self disclosure. It tells me the person is secretive. The person does not, he or she has a lot of inhibitions. The inhibitions is they don't want to share about their weaknesses. They feel there are insecurities. They feel that if I disclose, what will others think of me? So they think about embarrassments, they think about ridicule. Okay, so these kind of characters, traits, so they don't want to reveal, so they bottle up. Even in emotions they bottle up. They know that by speaking things can be solved, but they will not. They bottle it up. Simple things revealing to get better feedback, they will not. And issues they bottle up. At homes this happens, I'm sure there are many of you. You bottle up, and one fine day the dam will burst, and anybody who is in front of you will have to run. You will, the anger, irritation and anger and so much more comes out. Okay, simply because we are secretive. So what it means, if you look at this graph, when you disclose and you seek help by disclosing the areas that you wish to better see, after all human beings are one and the same: flesh, bones, skin, blood. Is there anything that I cut and you cut, they're different? No, there will be blood. Okay, the other things are emotions, navarasa. Okay, kama, krodha, mada, matsalya. So all those navarasas. So those 9 kinds of emotions are common. So every human being is going through these emotions at some time or other. But there are people around us who perhaps have controlled, who have won over few of those emotions, and they are there around you to help you. So you need to be able to open, disclose, share. You need to be genuinely interested in your personal growth. Then you certainly will find few people in your surroundings, in some friends you can confide, somebody elders you can confide, and you can seek, you can discuss. So how will you know whom to? That is the third dimension that you're talking about, the perceptiveness. We'll talk about it. Okay. So by self-disclosure and you gaining inputs from others, you your self arena will grow. Okay, if this is their arena, by disclosing, etc., that will grow. Okay. Then let's look at openness to feedback. There are a lot of things known to others by sheer observation. They know how do you speak, how do you act, how do you respond, how do you behave. A lot of people are observing you. If you're open to feedback, there will be people around you who will, you're going to seek, you're going to ask, who will tell you what all things they observe and how you can be better in any given situation. बोलेगा इस सिचुएशन में तुमको गुस्सा आ जाता है, यहाँ पे तो तुमको लड़ना चाहिए, लड़ते नहीं हो. Okay, so a lot of things around you, people who are significant, who you can ask to give feedback, they will have a lot of things to give feedback because they are aware about you and you are not aware. They are in your blind spot. For others, it is bright and sunny, they can see. Okay, so when you're open to feedback, then people will facilitate you, understand, give you feedback to become better. Okay, so in this case, you are pushing the vertical stuff and your arena is so growing. So if you have to grow, self-disclosure, openness to feedback, you keep moving it up and this one away, then you'll realize your arena is arena of your excellence. The more you know about yourself, the more others know about you, they will create and you will also occupy larger space for your excellence. You'll realize people coming and say, "Arey, ye wala responsibility, isko de do. Ye karega." I can understand, I can see. So a lot of things will come and land in your lap because you know your capabilities, and through this process of increasing your arena, others also know your capabilities, and you will be surprised the kind of opportunities that will come and land in your path. So when, because they are like this unknown or hidden has some space. When both of them start moving, the unknown will reduce because the blind spot is reducing, the secretive spot is reducing. Obviously, as things move, the blind, see, lot of things neither you know, not others will know, that will reduce. For example, if I go back to cricket, you know, yeah, this boy, who is the pace bowler from Hyderabad, look at it. And now he's a top class bowler. Even Bumrah comes, perhaps he will not be able to replace this fellow. Okay. In 9 matches or 11 matches, 27 wickets is the highest. Next highest is only 12 or 13 or something. Okay. So he is able to give breakthroughs. So when you are able to express, when others give you responsibility and you execute, then you will also get to know, others also will get to know what more capabilities do you have. Okay, so the unknown will reduce, the arena of excellence will increase. Okay, so how to apply this tool? Does it mean I disclose to everybody? No. As I said, there is something called perceptivity. Quite a few people do not have that perceptivity also to understand who is the person to go to. Okay, so whom should I disclose to? So ability to see people who can help you because of their own experiences, because of their capabilities. If they can help you, then find a person or two to whom you can go, and he or she can be your mentor to help you to understand. Okay. Similarly, should I accept feedback from anybody and everybody? But at least you can be a listener. Be a listener. If somebody is giving feedback, and if you feel value in the feedback being given, sure, why not? Okay, if it can aid you, if it can facilitate you become better, kindly accept, kindly use it. So use your discretion, in both cases, whom to disclose and whom to gain feedback from. But you've got to be honest to yourself to make it happen. Okay, as I said, listening to feedback does not amount to accepting the feedback. Listen, if it is value, accept it and implement it. Okay. So, if you want to increase your effectiveness, then you certainly need to be high on self disclosure and also high on openness to feedback. Both of these elements, both of these dimensions, you need to work. Okay, from these three elements, self disclosure, openness to feedback, and perceptiveness, each one of us will fall into one of these personalities. Somebody who has high openness to disclosure, high high self disclosure, and high openness to feedback, and high perceptivity, the third H, okay, is the most effective guy because he will keep growing. He will keep opening up to people whom he can open up to and ask. He will proactively seek feedback. He will create forums to seek feedback, and with perceptivity, he will keep using their wisdom of people around him to keep becoming better. Okay. So similarly, HHH, the way it could be, it is simply HRL, HRL, HRL. So there will be 8 different personalities that will come. Okay. So it starts from HHH, it goes to HHL. HHL is high on the self-disclosure, high on openness to feedback, but very low perceptivity. Does not know how to use, when to use, where to use. Okay. So insensitive, जहां मर्जी बोलेगा, जहां मर्जी बकेगा, जहां मर्जी. Okay. That insensitivity will spoil a lot of things. So he's also called, or the person also called bull, like a bull in China shop. Okay. HLL, that is high on self-disclosure, low on openness to feedback, and low on, so egocentric. I, me, myself, दूसरे का सुनेगा ही नहीं. Okay. So he's egocentric, high, speaking high about himself, sharing everything, least interested in taking feedback. Secretive, that is low on self-disclosure, high on openness to feedback. हम लोग खुद नहीं बताएंगे वो. I am open to take feedback. I am perceptive, so I know what, but I will not disclose. Okay, I am secretive. High on perceptivity, but low on other two, self-disclosure and also openness to feedback. So he will be self-pity, sitting in a corner and telling the dunya, mujhe hi kyun keh rahi hai. So he is walloping in self-pity, self-empathetic. He always lonely and feeling lonely all the time. High on self-disclosure, low on openness to feedback, and high on perceptivity. Okay. So this person will be task obsessed. काम हो, किसी से कोई मतलब वास्ता नहीं, काम खत्म करना है, कोई बाढ़ में जाए, कुछ भी हो. Okay. He is or she is a task obsessed. Somebody who has got low in all will be a challenge. Okay. Neither perceptivity is high, nor openness to feedback, nor self disclosure. So, usually struggling. Okay. It doesn't mean that it is very difficult. You got to work from going from LLL to HHH is not difficult at all. Okay. But for each one of these, you got to convert L to H, L to H. So when you the openness to feedback is high when you start doing it, self disclosure high, then you will quickly move to higher levels. Okay. Okay. Then slowly keep working on your perceptive. Perceptivity is always there. Okay, perceptivity many times is not very bad. It will be in the borderline case. So perceptivity will come to help you, and more experiences you have, greater will be your perceptiveness, and greater will be your ability to be effective. So we looked at loco inventory, we looked at PE scale. These are two very, very important tools that is there in your PDP and aspiration. Kindly take look at them. Okay. So we looked at what is personality, what all things that you need to do to keep gaining confidence, talking positively, keep acting positively to be on the upward spiral. And you also got to know how you can increase your circle of concern, how can increase your circle of influence, and how you can build your how can make um, circle of control to be within. Okay. And in the PE scale you have understood, hopefully, that how you can be effective kind with making use of people around you, you can build your own self. Okay. So there are a couple of stuff here which, for example, there is a channel called Bodhi Tree on Telegram. The handle of the channel is Awakening the Self. Yeah, a lot of people tell me, yeah, yeah, this looks like spirituality. But when I started, I always felt that everything starts with awakening oneself. And Bodhi Tree is a symbolic stuff of awakening. So I thought this channel of knowledge, articles, interview experiences, and so on and so forth, which I keep reading every day. I read about, if not, at least skim through 600, 700 articles a day. And I share some 30, 40, 50 of them in a day from various sources in this. And also, while the process is on, if you've seen, I'm putting the IIM Rohtak, um, IIM Lucknow also is coming. IIM Lucknow started off yesterday in Mumbai. So feedback from IIM Lucknow also is coming. So as the processes keep progressing in the Bodhi Tree, Awakening the Self Telegram channel, all things keep coming. Kindly keep following it so that if I can tell you, at least the news that is posted there, and the news, you don't have to pick up everything. If your purpose is clear, if your vision is clear, pick up only those articles that is in your arena, in your area of purpose. So in about 50 articles I post, maybe 5, 6 articles in your area of purpose. Go deeper in those. Other articles you just skim so that you know you have some knowledge about it. It could be of great value in engaging the panel. Okay. So these are some examples where civil services people, one of the students is actually sending me a lot of articles. I'm posting small articles, crisp articles on, I'll post on the 30, 40 of them are with me. I'll keep posting there. So these are the usual things that civil services people read, and they are treasure trove of knowledge. Okay. So kindly wait. Amit Mehta from one of the top. Amit Mehta is alumnus of IIM Kolkata. Amit is here. Hi, Amit.
Yes, hi, Shani, how are you doing?
Good, Amit.
I was
Nice.
hearing your session. It was wonderful. I got glimpse of, I remembered my Johari window sessions. Yeah, beautiful.
Over to you, Amit.
All
So,
right, thanks a lot.
friends, we have Amit here. He has been in the space of education for last 12 years, and is alumnus of IIM Kolkata, and he headed the admissions processes at our SP Jain Global Business School, and now he is spearheading BITS Home, which is BITS Business School, and he's here to share from the perspective of business schools what they look for. So you will perhaps see a lot of things that we discussed in the last 1.5 hours. You will see there. Over to you, Amit.
All right, thanks a lot, Shani. So I would request, okay, there you go. The presentation is right up there. So yes, as Shani just introduced, I have been in the space of education for about 12 years now. Started my career with a company called NIIT. For about few years, I was working there. Then moved on to teachings. I was teaching undergrad students of Mumbai University some of the management subjects. And while I was doing that, I got an opportunity to work with SPJIMR. So I was there for about 7 years, from 2013 to 2020. So 7 long years. Did multiple things there. Launched a few programs in India, right? And I was essentially looking after admissions there, and then got to know that Bits Pilani, is coming up with a new school in Mumbai. So it was sounding exciting, that India's premier engineering institute, is coming up with a business school, which is in Mumbai, right? So it was sounding pretty exciting. So I, kind of immediately, took up the opportunity and moved on from SPJN and joined Bitsom. And it's been a good journey so far at Bitsom. We've had two successful batches, but I wouldn't really go and talk about the program, because I believe right now it's important for you all to prepare as much as you can for the interviews, which you would have lined up for yourself for various B schools, and hopefully some of you all may also be getting interviewed at Bitsom. Okay, so let's start off with the presentation that I have. Okay, so that's a quick introduction. I've already kind of spoken about this, so let's move on. Okay, so pardon for the formatting. It's gone for a toss right now, but so let's understand what do B schools really look for. And I'm referring to top B schools, and let's understand the why behind it. Right, you would have submitted your applications, with CAT. You would have entered your academic details, your work experience, and all the other details in your application form. So these are standard things which you have to submit in any B school application. Now let's try to understand, why do B schools ask for these details? I mean, what is the relevance? What do they do with this data? Right, let's understand the behind the scenes a little bit. So number one, you would have entered your academic details in all your application forms. The reason B schools really ask for academic data is to kind of be a little reassured that you will be able to survive the academic rigorousness of the program. Right? That's the crux of it, and that's the reason why B schools really ask for your 10th, 12th graduation, if you've done any post graduation. So that's one big reason. Okay. Uh, the second one is your work experience or internships. Now, if you have work experience, great. If you don't have, you can always talk about your internships. Now, one big reason why B schools look at your work experience and internship data is to ensure that the class that the admission team is trying to form has diverse set of people in the batch. So to ensure that the peer learning happens, because in an MBA program, peer learning is extremely important, because faculties would, I mean, if you put together backgrounds of all the faculties, they would not be able to cover as many industries as the batch would, right? So the more work experience the batch has in terms of diversity, the better it is. I mean, your experience in the program, kind of gets better. Okay, so that's the second part. The third one is your achievements and awards. Now here, what basically the B schools, or for that matter Bitsam, would like to understand is, are you a multi-dimensional person? Okay, that's something which is extremely important. So are you just into academics? Have you won awards in your undergrad, in your work experience? Have you written research papers, or you would like to know about your hobbies? Have you won any awards there? So all those things really tells a B school whether you're a multi-dimensional person or not. And if you are great, let's say if you've got some NGO experience, you volunteered for a few NGOs. So all of this forms a part of your achievements and awards. The fourth and the last bucket, these are just broad buckets, I mean, there could be a few more things which a B school may look at, but these are just the broad ones. The last one is your test score, essays and LORs. Now here, test score of course tells us your verbal and quant skills. Basically, would you be comfortable with numbers, or would you kind of find it very difficult to crack them? So that's something which the test score really tells us. And essays, of course, it's an opportunity for you to share a lot more about yourself, your statement of purpose. How would you add value to the class? And share all possible learnings that you come with in an MBA program. And LORs, of course, a few B schools in India, and of course if you're applying abroad, then LORs do become a very critical document. So all of these things put together, okay, if you combine all the four things, essentially, uh, the big why is peer learning, right? The admission team's job, I mean, what we do here in Bitsam, and all the other admission team representatives you would have met, our essential job is to craft a class or build a class, right? That's something which we want to do with the right mix of engineers, non-engineers, having the right gender ratio, having people from multiple academic backgrounds and work experience backgrounds, not just engineers, there has to be a balance of engineers and non-engineers, right? So all of this is something which goes behind, and it's important for you to understand the why aspect of it as well. Now let's move on and look at what are the interview assessment criteria at Bitsom. I wouldn't really call it Bitsom, but I mean, of course, these are very common ones which I'm sure a lot of other B schools also look at. But essentially, if I had to broadly categorize our criterias, I would categorize them in these four, which are there on your screen. So the first one being leadership. Now, leadership can be demonstrated at three different stages, right? Uh, did you, so the first one is college. So did you demonstrate leadership at your college level? So, let's say if you studied engineering or non-engineering, I'm sure in your college there would have been festivals, right? Tech fest, cultural fests, and a lot of other competitions which are there in undergrad colleges. So did you volunteer to be a leader, and kind of executed a cultural or a tech fest, right? And these experiences do really count, especially if you're a fresher, okay, because you don't have work experience to talk about, and hence this becomes a very critical one. Then if you have a little bit of work experience, then have you demonstrated leadership there, and the community in large, so if have you volunteered for any social cause, is something that we look at, especially at Bitsam. And I'm sure this is true for a lot of other B schools also. They would want to kind of assess, is there a potential, is there a potential leader which they can see in you at the interview stage, right? So talk about these things in your interview, all your leadership experiences, or even if it's not a leadership experience, you can talk about your teamwork experiences. If you've been a part of the team, you may want to talk about those as well. The second one is level of functional depth or domain expertise. This is essentially where we discuss in the interview regarding your academic background if you're a fresher. If you have work experience, then we look at your functional depth as to, have you spent about 2-3 years in marketing, finance, sales, operations, IT? So essentially what you have done, and we kind of try to understand how well you have understood your role, and how does your role create an impact in your organization. Okay, so that's something which you look at for people with work experience. For freshers, it's essentially about having a clear understanding. So if you're a commerce student, having a clear understanding of how really accounts and finance works, a little bit of insights about BFSI industry always helps. Okay, so this is the second one. The third one is a little bit of something that which Shrini already covered towards the probably later half of his session, wherein he spoke about the Johari window. So how self-aware you are as an individual. When I say self-aware, how well do you know your strengths, weaknesses? Have you made a list? Is something which really helps. Okay, and then so self-awareness quotient has to be really high. You need to know what you're good at, what you're not good at, so that you can do a better job in the interview. For example, okay, let me give you an example. So let's say your if your self-awareness quotient is really high, you will be able to better kind of understand the questions and move the interview in the direction that you want it to be, right? Because then you will be able to navigate it better, being a little more self-aware. Okay, so that's a big benefit. Then we check motivations, how motivated you are towards your life goals, your personal and professional goals. We check your clarity of thought, how clear you are in terms of those goals, and how passionate you are, and the energy you bring in the interview. I mean, it's difficult. I do understand, if the interviews happen online, but if it's online, you can definitely, showcase your passion and energy in the interview. But if it's online, it becomes difficult. But yeah, I mean, try to keep your energy levels up in the interview, and even if you don't know an answer, it's okay. You're not a Google, or these days, as we know it, Chat GPT, right? So it's absolutely fine. The fourth and a very important one is your communication skills. Okay, now this is extremely important, and a lot of times we come across extremely bright candidates who have on paper an excellent profile, but are not able to really articulate their thoughts, right? And that one big reason why we found was lack of preparedness. So even if, let's say, you uh, may not be as good as some of your friends who are good in communication skills, which essentially means your ability to convince and yourself and others, and kind of persuade them to something that you want them to do. So preparedness is something which really helps. So let's say, for example, if there's a question which the panelists they ask you in the interview, do you have you made pointers already, in your preparation, as to, okay, if this question comes, I'm going to talk about these three things or these two things. So those things have to be well prepared. And if the question comes, and this is how I'll kind of answer this. So preparation really kind of works pretty much to help you answer some of the questions. You can prepare for it, right? I mean, some of the questions are going to come, so why not prepare for those questions, right? So essentially, at Bitsam, and I'm sure at a lot of other B schools, these are the four things that a B school looks at. Let's move on, and probably I'll share some of my insights with respect to the interview at Bitsam specifically. So if you get a shortlist from Bitsam, uh, essentially what we try to do at Bitsam is look at your strengths. We are not really an institute which will try to figure out what are the faults in your profile, because every time we have conversation with students, you typically bothered about something which is missing in your profile, right? It could be a lower CAT score, it could be a lower academic score, or it could just be you don't have work experience, you're a fresher. Don't be bothered about these things, right? Because it's an uncontrollable. If you don't have a score, you don't have a score, right? If you don't have work X, you don't have work X. Don't try to compare yourself with somebody else who has a work experience, because then there is no end to this then, right? Back your strengths. So I mean, the first point being, focus on your strengths and your core competencies rather than worrying about what you don't have. The second one is highlight your past leadership and teamwork experiences. As I just spoke about in the previous slide, we would want to understand if there is a potential in you, a future leader in you, right? It could be a corporate leader, or it could very well be your own startup, or your entrepreneurial venture. So try to highlight as many leadership experiences that you have, or teamwork experiences. The third one being, for aspirants with work experience. This is very important. I mean, a lot of times you end up just talking about your KRAs, what you do in your work, but try to talk about how do you make an impact in your organization. Now, when I say an impact, how are you contributing, whether to reduce the costs or to increase profits. That's when you make an impact, right? It's at the end of the day, it's the P&L which really companies look at. So are you positively impacting growth in sales, or are you trying to reduce the costs? Okay, so try to, I mean, if it's not necessary that you may be able to understand these things if you've got a few years of work experience, but if you can, great. Okay. The fourth one being reflect on your life experiences and learnings from those. Now, essentially, what happens is, in our college days, you would have done a lot of stuff, right? Or in your work experience, you would be, apart from work, you will be, let's say, participating in a lot of activities, in your office. A lot of times what happens is we don't reflect. Okay. So, for example, okay, pick up anything in your CV, any achievement of yours, or any thing that you've participated in your college, and just try to recollect those days and reflect on what really you learned while you were doing that. Okay, and just make a note of these things. Just go through your CV once again and try to make a list of these things as to what were your learnings from those. It could be, let's say, an online course that you did during pandemic, a MOOCs course on Coursera. You thought that's a great thing to do, you did it. But then, okay, so you did the course, what did you really learn from it? Is there a key takeaway which sticks with you, at least for a few years, or if not for life, right? So make a list of those learnings, because see, at the end of the day, what you bring to a class, which is the fifth point. How would you add value to the cohort? What you essentially bring to a B school is nothing but your experience. It's a bunch of experiences that you have in your college, in your work life, your personal traits. So essentially, you're bringing these things, to the table in a B school. So having clarity of these things is extremely important, right? So this is again a very typical question: how will you add value to the cohort that you're joining? So try to talk about experiences here that will really add value. Let's say you've worked for a few years and you've learned something, right? Or if you're a fresher, you're really strong in your domain. Let's say you've run your commerce, and you really know your numbers, and how do you do audits, and all the other financial stuff. So this is important. uh, Play on your core competencies. Again, it's a kind of a repeat of the first point, but remember, there will be occasions in your interview wherein you feel this is not your core competency. You're not comfortable here. uh, it is important for you to, from that point in time, navigate to something that is a core strength, right? Because otherwise, it's going to be a complete downhill, from there. So focus on your core competencies and play on that, because there will be a lot of questioning in the interview, and for some of the other B schools, they try to kind of also look at negative aspects of your profile. But just don't worry about those things. uh, I mean, you will have to navigate yourself to something which is your strength. Okay. And a very practical tip: if you have got an interview in a particular B school of your dream, ensure you connect with at least a few students, current students or alumni of that institute, and get to know their experience, as to how was their interview experience. It really helps. Understand who is going to be your panel, how long will your interview be. Take care of basic hygiene factors. I'm sure you look at those, but ensure you've got a stable Wi-Fi connection, you're well dressed, um, you know there is enough light on your face, and all of that. Basic hygiene factors. So take care of those things. So yeah, I mean, overall, what I would say is, don't look at something which is not controllable, right? Focus on what are your controllables, prepare well, know your strengths. Like we've already discussed a little bit. There is if you want to read something, you can read a book on ikigai, right? That's purpose for life. That's a good read on how do you build your self awareness and your purpose of life. So if you want, you can read that. So yeah, essentially that's something which I wanted to talk to you all about. We can just quickly cover one more slide on Bitsum, our journey. So if we can move to the next slide. Right. So this has been the journey of Bitsum so far. I wouldn't really go ahead and talk about the program because I only have about okay. It's already 9:30, but I'll just take about 2 more minutes and talk to you all as to what really has been the journey so far for 2 years. So Mr. Birla, kind of launched the institute. It's been almost 2 years now, 20th Jan 2021, and then on 4th of July we had about 138 students in our founding class. And on 5th January, around the same time last year, we announced the median stipend for our founding class, which came up to be around 1.5 lakh rupees. Then in July last year, we had our second cohort, which is we call it the co-founding class of 132 students, and they started their journey in July last year. And in September last year, we had about 78 students from our founding class, which started in 2021, visit London Business School for their 2-week immersion. Okay, and just a month back, approximately on 16th of December, we announced our summer placement report for the class of 24, wherein the stipend increased from 1.5 lakh to 2 lakh rupees. And as we speak, we are in the placement week. Final placements are on for the founding class, and hopefully, you will get to know about the final placements at Bitsum around February or March. We will make an announcement, once the placement is done for everybody. So if you're interested, you can apply. Applications right now are open, and the deadline for round two is 29th of January. Right, so 29th Jan is the deadline. Remember, there is no CAT cutoff or GMAT GRE cutoff. It's a profile based shortlisting. So if you're interested, you can apply for the program. You can also book a profile evaluation slot with the current students. So current students on campus, it's very easy. Just visit bitsam.edu.in, and you can connect with some of our current students and book a profile evaluation slot, which basically means they'll look at your background and then kind of give you their insights with respect to how good your profile is. All right, so that concludes my session today. I hope this was useful. If you have any further questions or you want to connect with us, do visit our website or call us, on our number.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Amit. It's been a pleasure listening to you. Friends, I'm sure you had gained a lot today, and Amit's the perspective from business school also you got to know. Um, so introspect, and your journey, you're on the journey, but you've got to have the clarity of where you're heading. Thank you very much, Amit. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
All the very
Have a
best.
wonderful time. God bless.